Hey everyone, welcome back. We're here at the Friends of Free Daily Coaching Weekly Mastermind. This is week number 2 of our reboot, and week number 2 is going to bring some surprises to you guys and gals. Now, most of the time, I'm pretty spot on trying to stay focused and get all of my goals accomplished in a pretty timely manner, for the most part. Now, there's some areas where I definitely find holes in my marketing as well as in my business where there's things falling through the cracks, right? Where sometimes things don't get done or they don't get done in a time-appropriate manner because of a number of different obstacles. Well, just last week we talked about focus and staying focused, and I was talking about making your lists, right? And really staying focused and getting things accomplished based on list making abilities and then following those lists. Well, I fell short this week, right? I fell short in my business area. Now, in my personal life and my home here, I'm really trying to learn this balance of just moving and not just moving, not just like we moved around the corner to a new house, but we literally moved all of us, all of our possessions, right? Everything that we own. We moved all of our animals, which was some ridiculous 9 rabbits and 2 cats and 2 dogs and 2 goats and a pregnant pig, right? And moved all that to a new place. So there's a lot of projects still to be done. You can see behind me, you can see there's white gypsum floor. So I don't even have flooring in here. So you can see, look, over here I got to dust like every other day, right? Because it gets dusty. So I fell a little short in all of my expectations for my marketing for the week. Now, last week what we did was we went through and set some new goals, and hopefully you went through and set some intentions. You determined a goal, you actually set it, and then you listed out the required list of behaviors that were required to achieve that goal. So I listed out some of the required actions for mine, which was email my list, create a Facebook campaign, right? There were a few others that I did specifically for mine. So, and my initial first goal was to have 30 people in the next 30 days, right, on the regular. Something in those, that was the general idea of my goal. Now, what I didn't do was I didn't send out the email series yet, right? I haven't sat down and written that or written saying, hey, we're back. But what I did do was post in the Free Daily Coaching group, start to post again on social media to let people know that the Free Daily Coaching was happening again. So 1 week in, I haven't hit my goal, and I'm, to be quite honest, I kind of got on a slow start, right? So we look, and I'm going to use like a sporting reference. We look around at week 1 in football, and we look around to some teams, and we go, wow, they got off to a slow start. So I got off to a slow start. I was really trying to make a transition, and so hopefully my goal is to continue to move forward, right? To continue to accomplish these goals for the Free Daily Coaching call. So that being said, what I wanted to do today was I wanted to be able to do a couple different things. One, I wanted to check in with Chris. I know that she had a goal, and then last week when we determined and set that goal, we actually looked at the goal right then and already were able to ascertain that we were probably going to want to change the goal moving forward, right? So we knew that. And then the other thing I wanted to do was check in with everyone and see, is there anyone working on something that needs help right now, that says that really is like working on something that needs some live input, because that's what this is really for, right? There's two functionalities of this Friends of Free Daily Coaching Mastermind. One is to be able to mastermind so that you have this live connection with me each and every week, and we're doing it in a group setting. And then number 2 is so that you can come into my office and look at exactly what I'm doing. Last week we set it up, and and I told you straight up this week what I've done of that list, right? So now I have to go in and do some of the work items of that list and get those tasks accomplished so that I can move forward with my marketing, right? That's just what's required. I did the minimum of what needed to happen. I restarted the call. I started the Facebook campaigns in my groups, right? And using social networking. So I just barely started to scratch the surface. So that's why we give ourselves a list. We give ourselves also, when we determine that goal, we give ourselves a time period, right? So in my case, I would give myself a 30-day time period because I knew from last week to this week, realistically, it was going to take me 4 of those cycles, 4 weeks or a month to really get going again and get functioning. So let's check in with Schaus. Chris, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right. It looks weird to see you in your little profile picture down there when you're not live, because then you don't have your glasses on. Okay, so originally you had set a goal, and your goal that you had determined was that you wanted to get more people onto your newsletter. And so then you set an actual goal, and you said that in the next 60 days you wanted to get 50 new people, right? And we determined, I think mathematically, it was like just under a person a day when we broke down the math that you needed to acquire or to attain that goal. Is that correct?
That's correct. I fell a little bit short. I got 5 people.
Okay, so you got 5 people in 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay. So you fell a little short. So now because I talked about it too, right? Like I focus more on some projects here at my house, which some of these projects, they're, when I go to do it, I underestimate the amount of time it's going to take me, right? Like this morning, I was like, oh, I'm just going to do like a couple hours. I'm going to build this stuff real quick for the pig house, right? And by lunchtime, I'll be done, right? And then by the time I go and do it, I just barely finished right now, and I was like, man, I gotta go finish that thing, right? It's because I'm almost done, right? So I underestimated by a couple hours. So I also did that in my marketing. So I noticed that, I realized, and that was one of the things that we set into our setup, our program, if you will, is to adjust, right? To be able to adjust for time, whatever types of obstacles or challenges. So you got 5 people in 7 days. Now, in those 7 days, Chris, because I know that I think you did the 5-5-5 method for one of those. In those 7 days, how many days did you do 5-5-5?
2.
2 days. And how long did you spend doing 5-5-5? How many sessions did you do?
I did.
Do you remember? About
2 sessions of an hour.
So 2 hours or an hour total?
No, 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay. So, and did all the leads come from 5-5-5?
No.
How many came from 5-5-5?
3. 2
Okay.
came from, I don't know where, either my YouTube, which I'm up to 76 videos now.
Okay, so YouTube or Facebook?
YouTube or my newsletter on my blog.
Or the blog. Okay. Okay. So 2 came just from autopilot, from real estate that you already have, right?
Right.
And then 3 came from doing the 5-5-5.
Right.
Okay. Now, if the 5-5-5 is done, so the original idea is that it's 15 minutes, right? So that means that you did 4 sessions, and then you did that 2 times.
Right.
Okay. So in that, you total, so that's 8 sessions, let's say, you got a total of 3 leads.
Right.
Okay, so what I would say is if you're going to use the 555 method to go out and get leads, then you need to refine that process.
I agree.
Right? Because the what you got back for 2 hours worth of work, it's just that the payoff isn't there.
Right.
Right? 2 hours worth of work to get 3 leads, you should be able to, so this is the reality. You should be able to get those 3 leads in one session ultimately, right? Ultimately that you should be able to get to there. So where that you do an hour and that should get you at least like 12. Then it would be worth it, right?
Right.
Then it would be worth it. Okay, so it's not worth it for you right now, or it doesn't seem to be. So that's probably a good reason why you're not doing it, right? You're like, well, this sucks. I'm not getting a result. So what I would suggest, and what we can do is we'll talk to some other people here today and see if anyone else. Raise your hand to the other attendees if you're here and you want to come over. Just simply raise your hand. I also put the link in the chat, but raise your hand. It's easier, and then there's no delay, and you won't get all jumbled up. So, Chris, what I think that we should do, personally, this is just what I would do if I were you, is let's do some, either A, let's go back and review the 555 method videos, because there's one of the videos where I specifically talk about just what to say.
Right.
Right? Because whatever you're doing, you're not saying the things that are okay. This is, I want you to I want everyone to listen to the verbiage I'm using here. Okay, you're not saying the required things to get the response that you will desire.
Obviously.
Okay? Yeah, but the reason that we're stating it that way is because a lot of people are saying to themselves, I'm saying the wrong thing. I'm not saying the right thing. I suck. I'm not very good at talking to people. They're saying all these things in their head that aren't the actual what's really happening. What's really happening is you're simply just not giving them the information that they require to give you the result that you're looking for. Period. That's all that's happening. So all that needs to change is we need to change that interaction between you and those people, so that you're saying what's required to be said to get the reaction that you're looking for. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So approximately, let's break it down. Now, if the other attendees want to either A, want to come over, or B, they have a question on their marketing, we can jump into that. So approximately, Chris, what would you say about how many people do you think you're talking to in let's say, because you in 2 hours, so let's say in 1 hour, how many people do you think you'd be talking to?
Probably 10.
10 per hour. Okay.
Where I'm getting hung up is actually asking them if they want to be on my newsletter.
Okay. So, what if I can show you one trick, a turn of words that can change it so it doesn't seem weird to ask them? Will that help you?
Yep.
Okay. So, this is what I want you to say. At some point in the conversation, and probably relatively early, you're not going like on and on and on and on with people. You're talking about business in some way, right? Like you're looking on their page and you're noticing that they're into, I'm just going to make up XYZ company, okay? And maybe you say something to them like, oh, I noticed you're in XYZ. How long have you been doing that? Right?
Right.
And then they say, oh my gosh, I've been doing it 6 months. Here's my link. You won't believe it. I'm connected to the #2 person the whole entire thing, and we're in momentum, and you got to join it, and oh my gosh, it's great. Right?
That's what eyelashes out there.
Right? Because that's what they're going to probably respond, something like that a lot of times, right?
Right.
Then what if you said something just this simple? Wow. Okay, so I'm going to just say right here, insert some type of compliment and or acknowledge what they just shared with you. So I know someone, right? Connect with them in some way. Wow, that's really cool. Wow, that's great. I know a lot of, yeah, I know a lot of people that are, maybe you know some people that are in that company. You know, I know a group of people that are in that company. They love it. I'm glad you're doing, you know, glad to hear that you started your own business, right? So you're affirming, confirming, or reaffirming what they just told you, okay?
Right.
And then you're going to give them a solution. And now I'm going to show you in real time. Wow, Chris, that's awesome. I'm so glad you joined XYZ company. It's really good to see that you're getting into business for yourself. You know what? I actually do a marketing newsletter that's specifically designed for people just like you that are just getting into business for yourself. I'd love to shoot that over to you. Done. That's it.
Okay.
Compliment them. Hey, you know what? I do a great marketing newsletter that I think can help you with that. I'd love to shoot that over to you. And then almost always the response is something similar to, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
All right.
Right?
Right.
I would love that. Thank you. Absolutely. Where would you like, what's the best email that I could shoot it over to you real quick? And then bam.
I've even been able to put my little funnelizer right in Facebook and have them sign up themselves too.
Okay, stop. That's okay. This is a classic example of what I used to do. That was one of your good ideas. I had that good idea too, right? Like, oh, I could just send them my funnelizer link. No, that's totally different than what I just said to do.
Okay.
And the reason why is because then you're sending them a link just like they sent to you. Remember when they just sent you a link in the example, and it's like, oh, here comes their link, and then now you're just doing the same thing back, like, oh, here, just go sign up on my, right? And you're positioning it by the way you say it. Hey, I do a great marketing newsletter that I think could help you with what you're doing over there with XYZ company. Hey, you know what? I do a great marketing newsletter that could help you get more exposure for XYZ company. I'd love to shoot that over to you. I'd love to get that over to you. Right? Now they're like, wow, awesome. Then you're asking them, hey, you know what? What's the best way I can get it to you? What's the best email that I can shoot that over, that I can send that over to you? Then they tell you, right? Go open an incognito window, go to your site, put in their first name, put in their email, zam, send it to them. Right?
Okay.
Then
Maybe
you can
that's where the hang up is.
Yeah, then you can message them back. Hey, I just shot that over to you. I hope you enjoy. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate. You know, if you ever have any questions, I'm always around. You know, glad to help. Then they'll be like, wow, thanks. Yeah, no worries, glad to help. Right? Boom.
Okay.
Because when you shoot a link, you're just doing what everyone else does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does now that I think about it.
Okay. Did you have a question, Wendy?
I actually do.
Okay, go ahead.
So to go along with that, I purchased a solo ad, which I know is cold traffic, but it was highly targeted leads.
Okay.
And I am not getting any opens. So I'm sort of feeling like I really don't have a great email list to put people on because I'm not getting any opens.
Okay, so if you bought a solo ad, then where are you sending the traffic to what page?
I sent them to an MLC offer using Facebook cheat sheet.
Okay, and they're opting in to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
and then they're getting what email response, like what autoresponder, just the generic MLSP one, or do you have a Facebook one?
No, I was using the MLSP auto series with a few little changes, but I didn't use all 31 of them.
Okay, so like how many?
Like maybe, I think the first 12. I figured if they weren't interested by then, there was no sense continuing to send them that canned email.
Okay. And how many out of the first, and so you're getting, where's your drop rate significantly dropping off?
Probably after the first 4 days.
Okay, so 4 messages. Okay, so then this is what I would do. The first thing I would do is I would identify where the major drop-off is.
Okay.
And I would do one of 2 things. Okay, so this is something you're going to try, or you're going to try 2 methods here, okay?
Okay.
The first idea is you're going to optimize those first 4 messages.
Okay.
And refine those, because that's where you're getting a bulk of your people. And whatever the last message is, that in that series of 12, let's say it's 4, where that is the last one, and then on 5 it just boom, just plummets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure on 4 to have a massively strong call to action on that email. Okay, so then that means that if it's number 4, I'm just making this up. If it is number 4, then 1, 2, and 3 that lead up to 4, they're going to have to lead up to 4.
Okay.
Right? They're not like, there's no call to action in those. Those are giving value and showing what you're leading up to, and then 4 is the call to action.
Okay.
Okay. Then on the back, okay, so that's the first thing to do. Then the second thing I would do is I would start at message number 5, and I would just see, does message 5 through 12 just suck and they're just not worth keeping, and so then just scrap them?
Okay.
Or are 5 and 9 and 7 good, or 5 and 7 and 12 are good, or whatever, right? But the rest are no good. So scrap those ones, keep those 5, 7, and 12, and then refine them, right? Refine them and put them back into the process, and see if the open rate goes up on them now that you've changed them and made them better and edited them. But that's a back end thing. The reason I said do the other one first is because that'll give you immediate action right away. Right? And then doing the other part you can do over time.
Because they're not opening the first broadcast message I sent, I think I got 12 opens because I got 100 and, I think close to 120 opt-ins out of 300 emails sent, or messages sent to the
out of 120 people that you have on your list, if 12 people open, that's like a 10% opt-in rate off of cold traffic. That's not bad.
It isn't? Okay.
No, and depending on, okay, and so this is the other thing. So check this out. It's also, think about this, Wendy. Depends on how long that traffic now has been sitting on your list. Okay, so imagine this. Let's say your series now, as it stands, let's say they opted in a week ago, let's just say, okay? Mm-hmm. So in the last week, they've gotten 7 messages. We know after 4, they mostly start to fall off.
Yeah.
Right? So message 5, 6, 7, and now your broadcast message that you sent, let's say this morning, message number 8 that they got from you, they're already disengaged. That's like half the messages ago is when they stopped really being engaged with you. So. Right. So 10% that is actually opening is really not that bad. That's pretty good, right? Like, considering that fact. Now, I want you to think about what it would look like, what it can look like if you do refine these 4 messages. Okay, the first 4, edit them. I mean, maybe the first 3 and all the way up to 4 are great all the way. Hold on, Felicia, I'll bring you over right now. Uh, maybe they're already good, okay? And you just notice that last one where you want to make that call to action, you're not doing a great call to action. So maybe you refine that one message, that one email, right? Once you refine that one email and you've got that call to action, now you have more interaction with the people, with the list, right? With more interaction, now you're going to have a better chance to get them to open your broadcast messages, right?
So,
Because they're more engaged in the actual series.
right. Are you saying to send that back out to the current people or just for going forward?
No, just going forward.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You can always send a broadcast, like if you, okay, and then this is the cool thing. Like let's say you refine the call to action email.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to send a broadcast message out that says something like, you may have missed this.
Okay.
Right? That could be the subject. Something like that. And then in the email, you could be that, could just be like 1 or 2 line opening, and then it could be that's a different intro, and then really that message that you just created, that call to action. Say, hey, I noticed I haven't seen you lately, so you may have missed this email. I wanted to send it to you again just so you could take a look at it. Then that way you get it to all the, that way now it's in your series, but then that way you get it to all the people that are on your list.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out how to re-engage people.
Yeah, and then check this out. That's all you do is you just send the letter, you send the email, and then you engage with who engages, and you don't with who do, and whoever doesn't, then don't worry about it. You just move on. Just the main thing in this is just remember it's massive numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like, check this out. People think that you just go and I thought this too. I've run solo ads a few. You go run a solo ad, you buy it. It's like you're like, I got 300 clicks and I got 120 opt-ins, and that's 47%. That's good. And then you notice that none of those people keep reading and blah blah blah. Well, then you realize like, oh, this is cold traffic.
Right. Yeah.
All right, I got to get these people engaged, right? And then I would go as far as to say, Wendy, let's look at, if you keep those first 4 messages, look at what the opt-in rates or the open rates really are. And if they're not solid, then let's look at using the MLSP messages as a template, but going in and totally making a custom email series.
Okay.
That starts up and that starts out like, hey, I'm Wendy. This is what I'm all about, right? Are you looking for a business? Are you looking to generate leads? Are you looking for social media? Are you looking for help? Are you looking for solutions? Because if you're one of those, if you're looking for one of those things, then let me tell you something, you're in a good place, because you're just like me. I was looking for all of those things not too long ago, and now I've found solutions to quite a few of those and a lot more cool stuff. And I'd love to be the one that is able to share that with you. Right? So over the next few days, I'm going to send you a couple messages. I'm going to start showing you some stuff. This is what I'm going to show you. This is what I'm not going to show you. Right? I'm not going to show you spam and junk and crap. I'm going to show you quality stuff. I'm going to show you stuff I use. I'm going to show you stuff that's been used and tested for years, that's industry proven, right? Stuff like that, right? That's what you're going to tell them. And the message, and then you're going to open a loop, right? You're going to open a loop. You're going to start telling a story, but you're not going to tell the whole story, right?
Okay.
I work with this crazy guy that quit his job, and he had no idea what he was doing. He quit his job, and today he literally owns a ranch where he has goats and pigs and craziness. But you know what? I'll tell you more about him later, because I'm so excited, because I found all of the solutions that I talked about earlier, and guess what? I found them in one place. So hang with me. On the next email I send you, you're going to see this subject line, right? Booty voodoo gaga, whatever the subject line is. So absolutely open that email, because in that email I'm going to send you something else, and I'm going to tell you the most outrageous story about this goat guy that you've ever heard. Right? So take a look at this video. It shows you a little bit more about some Facebook training that I wanted to share with you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Right? And then, you know, or maybe P.S., here's a little video that I want to share with you. Right? Then you can put the video in the P.S.
Okay. Cool.
Something like that. So that's on like, okay, so step number 1 is go in and refine what you have. Step number 2 is look at the ones that you've, you know, kind of quarantined off as not good messages and see if there's anything salvageable there. And then step 3 is go in and really get serious and brand it to you and make it yours instead of just the MLSP message. Make that message your message. Right? And if you feel like you don't have a story enough yet or you don't have that message, then just use mine. Just use someone that you're familiar with. Right? Because then whenever someone says anything, then when anyone asks you a question, you can always just defer to me. Like, oh, you know what? I don't know. I work with this guy, and this guy's done X, Y, and Z. Let's ask him. Right?
Okay.
Like, I know where he's at every week. And I know his phone number, and I got his email, and we can get him on the phone right now. Let's get him on the phone. Boom. Right? And then you just defer to me, and then let me help you do that. And that's the cool part about the mastermind. That's the cool part about working together. You know, I get this all the time. People are like, oh, you're too busy, and I don't want to bother you with this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, you better bother me with it. Because if you don't bother me, who else? You're going to go what? You're going to go bother someone else? Is there someone else that has said, yes, you can call me and bother me? Because what I've seen is most of the people are like, don't call me. I don't take calls. I don't call people. And I don't want to be bothered with that. I just want to set myself on autopilot and go. That's what I see the majority of people. So, because I invite you to bother me, right? And it's because it's no bother. Because what you think is bothering me, it's not a bother. I'm like, listen, that's what I do. That's why I'm here. I want you, and this is why we do this, right? So you come and ask these questions. So now, when you get into these places where you want to start leveraging, and you feel like you're like, oh, I don't have a story for this, use someone else's. Someone that you know will back your play, right? You got a group of people here, and that's what we do as a community, right? And that's why we do the free daily coaching, and then that's why we have this mastermind, is so that we can, as a group, back each other up and support each other, right? So maybe it's not a story of mine. Maybe you use a story from Clive, or maybe Phoenicia had a story that you wanted to share, or Chris, or Debbie, or anyone. Right? Maybe it's someone that you work with, or you know what I mean? It could literally be anyone else that has a story that would be a great fit for an analogy that you're telling in any situation, right? So don't feel like you can't share those just because you haven't had them yet.
Okay. Where can I find the video you were talking about with the 555?
There's 2 places. One is on Facebook. If you go to the Jam Sessions group, and I'm pretty sure you're in that group, so go and look in the Jam Sessions. If you go into that group, up under the Files section, there's a bunch of 555 videos in there. And then if you go back into the members area of the free daily coaching here, you can go back and watch a bunch of 555. At the very, 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 very first video of Friends of Free Daily Coaching is the original 555 webinar. It's probably one of the best ones that we ever did. Literally, we have like a full house. There's like 9 people. Everyone's doing it right there, getting leads.
I've watched that one once. I just need to watch it again to see what I need to
That's like session number 1 on the originals, so you can tap into it there.
Okay. The one you did for summer school is very good too.
Oh yeah, the one we did for summer school is a good one too.
If Wendy needs that link, I've got it.
Yeah, so shouts to that link. So there's a couple different ones, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take. So we're going to have in the back office. I just haven't met with Debbie because I've been obsessed with getting these animal buildings built here. But I need to meet with Debbie because she's been helping upload the videos and stuff. And what we'll do is we'll have like a new page. So there's like page for like all the old sessions, and then starting from last week and this week, the new sessions, so everyone can kind of, so it's not so much to look at and try to, you know, decipher all at once. And what we'll do is each time we do a project, like this project I did set a goal for the month. After this month, we'll package all 4 of those episodes like in a module. Boom. Right? So each month will kind of be a module. So then it's, when you go back into the back office, it's a lot more fluid. It's a lot more congruent. Debbie is putting the titles, right? So this one's the Friends of Free Daily Coaching Mastermind. So then she'll write a couple notes on like what we talked about today. Right? So today we talked about using the 555 method, and not just the 555 method, like, but advanced questions, right? Answering questions to conversations in advanced topics pertaining to 555. So that then you can go back and go, oh, okay, this is where people ask questions about the 555. Maybe someone asked my question, or maybe they asked something, and Bert, you know, answered it in their question. Make sense?
Yep. I was just going to ask if you're going to have some kind of dates or something.
Yeah. So we're gonna. So now, because I had just the dates on the back ends of some of them, but
It is session 1.
What's that?
It really is session number 1.
No, I know. That's what I said. It's session number 1. It's the very first one. It's the very, very, very first one. Yeah, I knew it. I knew that. I was like, I know that session number is very number 1. So they will. So as Debbie's gone back and she's been going, and I don't know if she's doing it moving forward, and she's gone back to some of them, but and started to redate them, and so that we have an idea of what it is. Like, hey, this is what this is. And the cool part is this: now that we have kind of phase 2 going, you got the meat and potatoes from that whole first section that we have, and of course you have access to all that, and over time we'll refine it and make sure that the titles get up there and the dates of when they are, and then moving forward, know that we're going to stay on top of it. But this was like one of the loop. You know, when I opened the call, I talked about there's cracks where we found stuff was leaking through. That was one of the things that would get leaked through. I would come out, we would do these free daily coaching weekly sessions. Sometimes we would go for 2 or 3 hours, right? Well, when those were done, I was just like wiped out. I'm like, oh, I'm done. And I would hit stop. Well, then I would have to go back later because it would take me, whatever, 20 minutes to process, and then that's where I would drop the ball because I would be off onto the next task. And a week later, when someone asked me for the recording, they're like, what did you guys talk about? And I was like, I don't know. That was a week ago. You know what I mean? Like, we had so many conversations since then. So by bringing Debbie over, and Debbie said, you know, she's like, hey, I'm going to take on the administrative parts of this. And by having someone that's just dedicated to do that, like once a week, she just, when this is over, she'll grab the video, she'll upload it to the page, she'll put the number, done. Right? She'll put the date, the call, the title of it, and then it's packaged. By just doing that, we seal up that crack, and now moving forward, it's good. So just like when you ask that question about, hey, should I go back and do this? I never go back, Wendy. I just figure, hey, whatever is left over, it's in the dust. You know what I mean? Like, unless someone's yelling at you about it, which of course you want to take care of people, right? Because if there's someone that's asking you for something that you said you give them, and they're like, hey, can I have that? Then go give it to them. But otherwise, if it's something that, like, you generated these leads but nothing came of it, or you didn't do this, or this didn't follow through, just forget it. Just leave it. Just start fresh, right? Because by the time you get back there and figure out what it was that you were doing there, you could have been 2/3 of the way through the new one of whatever it is, right?
Right.
Like, imagine going back to your MySpace now. By the time you figured out what it was, you could have just gone and set up a whole new MySpace or a whole new Facebook or some other new social media account, right?
Right.
So,
Okay.
all right, beat that one down.
Thank
Phoenicia,
you.
Yeah, you bet. Phoenicia, do you have anything, or did you just want to come over and hang out? Do you have any questions this week?
No.
No questions? All right, Phoenicia's rocking it. She's like, I got nothing. She's eating dinner. We caught her in dinner time. Gotta ask Mr. Jeffrey if he's got anything, if he's got any questions. or anything for us, then I'm going to have him I'm going to bring him over, or we'll field the question in a chat if you need to, Clive. Other than that, excuse me, what I would encourage what I would encourage everyone to do is, if you haven't, go back to last week's call, watch that call, literally go and define and set your goal, make a list of your required actions, and then literally start taking those actions. I'm telling you, you can get some phenomenal things done. Some phenomenal things done. I started the call by being transparent. I want to be transparent with you guys. I got so focused and so laser beamed on the move and getting here that when I started to transition back into like active work, it's like weird, you know? It's weird. It's because it's like something I haven't been doing all the time again. So it's like, okay, I'm getting back into the swing of it. So in the first week, I've been able to do the free daily coaching call. Right? We did it. We got it scheduled. It's up. It's running. We're going. We're doing it live. People are there. So that's happening. We're posting it on Facebook. So now what do I have to do? Well, now I have to go write some email campaigns. I've got to go put some real social media campaigns together and actually drive some real traffic, right? Get some real exposure to it based on the list that I created for myself. So I did that. Chris Schaus did it. A group of us did that. We set and determined our goal. So I encourage you, go back while we're here at this new starting place and we're fresh, and go and determine and set your goal for the next 30 days, 90 days, right? And then let's move forward and let's keep doing this. On next week's call, I will definitely have some updated numbers for everyone. I'll show you exactly what I've created, what those emails, obviously if you're on my email list, which if you're here you are, so you'll see some of those emails going out, but then next week what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll show you how did I craft the email, what was I thinking, why did I do what I did, why did one email go to the next and to the next specifically. So I'll break that down and show you, and then I'll show you the exact Facebook campaigns I'm doing, why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, what the results are, right? And we'll go through that. And that's what next week's call will look like. As always, of course, if you have something that you're working on and you want to bring it to the table, bring it to the table. We're always glad. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'll make the new page, Debbie. I'll go and make it with you in just a minute. I'll go make it today before I do anything else. I'll go make that page so we can put it. So we'll have last week's call will be up within the hour. We'll have last week's call up. So I'll go create that new page really quick. I just have to clone a page. So it's that quick, guys and gals. So next week we will do that. If you guys have anything in the interim, if you have questions and you need to get them answered, come on over to Free Daily Coaching. We changed it to 10 a.m. Eastern time. So it's 10 a.m. Eastern, that's 7 a.m. Pacific time. And we're going back to that a more structured format where we do Mindset Mondays. We're going to have tech tips on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we're going to do like a weekly Wednesday and do some type of an interview. Thursday we're going to do Shouse in the House on Thursdays. I don't know what we're going to call that. Maybe Thursday Throwdown with Chris Schaus. And then Friday will be a Friday free-for-all. And it'll be a day where everyone can come back again as a big community. We'll all come together on Fridays where everyone can join in and kind of share just a little bit about what they're doing and the successes and or the challenges that they're facing in their business. Mostly we focus on the successes on Fridays. So that's what the free daily coaching looks like. So any of those days, if you have questions, you can always come over live and ask questions there as well. So that's it for the Friends of Free Daily Coaching Mastermind. This is week number 2 on our reboot. If you want to raise your hand, if you want to come over for the bonus session that we do off the air that's not recorded, go ahead and raise your hand now, or go ahead and click on the link If you don't have camera or sound, that's okay. But if you want to be there to hear the live free session, go ahead and click or raise your hand now. For the rest of you, we'll see you the next time.